In the beginning, the season was written off as a rebuilding year for the Miami Dolphins. With the retirements of Tim Foley, Larry Little, and Bob Greasy, vital leadership had been lost. What remained were 31 players with experience of 3 years or less. Despite this, Don Shula guided his youngest team in a decade to the championship of the AFC East. In the opener, an aggressive defense, led by number 73, Bob Baumhauer, swarmed over the Cardinals' O.J. Anderson. The dangerous runner was held to just 52 yards on 20 carries, and St. Louis was limited to a single touchdown. In the season's second game, another prominent running back was the target. Franco Harris's yardage matched the number on his back. Merely 32 yards for the third leading rusher in pro football history. Against Pittsburgh, the Dolphins racked up their 8th sack of the season. And Miami's record stood at a neat 2-0. The third week, Houston's Earl Campbell, like Franco Harris and O.J. Anderson, was gang-tackled into submission. Ken Stabler was dropped 8 times, 4 on sacks by Bob Baumhauer, as the Dolphins completed a whirlwind display of defensive excellence. 16 sacks and just 27 points allowed in the first 3 games. The fourth week witnessed a unique father and son reunion and a pause in the string of great performances by the defense. A unit that had given up just 27 points in 3 games allowed 28 in 1, as Baltimore's Burt Jones unleashed an aerial barrage. In the offensive shootout, Jones was matched pass for pass by David Woodley, who brought the Miami attack to a boil with his finest day as a pro. The second-year quarterback passed for 309 yards, helped by some great receiving by Duriel Harris, number 82. In the starting lineup were 2 rookie running backs who accounted for 3 touchdowns. Number 32, Tom Vigorito, played in place of Tony Nathan, while Andra Franklin, number 37, stepped in for Woody Bennett and scored twice. With a 3-point win, young, surprising Miami now had a record of 4-0. Against the Jets, a hard hit knocked David Woodley out of the game with fractured ribs. Shula had now seen his entire opening day backfield wiped out with injuries. Riding to the rescue was Don Strock, football's best relief pitcher, who teamed with number 89, Nat Moore, to save the day. Strock passed for 279 yards, an amazing 210 of them to Moore, who caught 7 passes for 2 touchdowns. The game ended in a tie, but after 5 weeks, Miami stood alone as the only undefeated team in pro football. The next week in Buffalo, the unbeaten streak came to an end. About the only thing Dolphin fans had to cheer about was a dazzling 90-yard kickoff return by rookie Fulton Walker, number 41. But Miami bounced back against Washington. Wearing a vest to protect his broken ribs, David Woodley hooked up with Wally English's talented stable of receivers for close to 300 yards. Their passing game put Miami back on the winning track. One of 1981's most memorable games matched Tom Landry and Don Shula, a pair of coaching legends. On his 23rd birthday, David Woodley lit the candles for a Dolphin record 408 yards.
Going deep up the middle of the field. Cephalo's down there. He got it. 20. Go to 15, 10. 5. Touchdown, Miami. Jimmy Cephalo.
What seemed a comfortable lead soon dissolved in the face of a final quarter onslaught by the Cowboy attack. But Miami roared back in the final 2 minutes on another fine catch by Duriel Harris. On the brink of a dramatic victory, their comeback was halted. What could have been one of Miami's greatest victories was instead one of their most bitter defeats. The next week, Miami rebounded as Woodley accounted for 3 touchdowns in a decisive 27-10 win over the Colts. Seven days later in New England, the team overcame a 2-touchdown deficit with a ground game that produced a season-high 203 yards. An unusual bit of trickery set up a fourth-quarter touchdown as the teams battled to overtime. In sudden death, linebacker Bob Brzezinski, number 59, intercepted his second pass of the game. 1 of 4 by Dolphin linebackers, and Miami was in position to win on an Uwe von Schamann field goal. The kick was 1 of 4 winning field goals on the season for the man they call Von Foot. The thrilling overtime victory gave Don Shula a milestone 200th career coaching win. The Dolphins now stood 7-2-1, the best record in the entire NFL. The heart of the Dolphins is the man with the anvil jaw, chiseled through 19 years as an NFL coach. Don Shula pulled off his greatest sideline performance by guiding this young team to a title in 1981. His boldest decision came at quarterback, where he used 2. The result was Woodstruck, half David Woodley, half super sub Don Struck, who thrived in relief. Called Tass's running backs were number 22, Tony Nathan, and number 37, Andre Franklin, the bruising fullback in the tradition of Shula teams. The second-round draft pick ran for 711 yards, the most ever for a Dolphin rookie. At halfback, the very versatile Tony Nathan came through spectacularly. His 5.3-yard rushing average was the highest in the entire NFL. Add to it 50 pass receptions, and you have the Dolphins' most valuable player in 1981. One of the team's strongest areas was John Sandusky's offensive line. They were Jeff Taves, John Giesler, Bob Kuchenberg, Mark Dennard, Dwight Stevenson, and Eric Loxell. After spending most of his 9-year career in the shadow of Larry Little, number 64 Ed Newman was named to the Pro Bowl for his devastating blocking ability. But skillful blocking was a trademark of the entire forward wall. Special teams were another source of strength, from the punting of rookie Tom Orris to the kicking of veteran Uwe von Schaumburg. Coach Steve Crosby's reckless band of special team hitters included Steve Shull, Jim Jensen, and Steve Potter, number 54. On the receiving end was rookie Tom Vigorito, one of the leading punt returners in the league.
Vigorito will run to his right, gets a corner turn, 15, 20, got a block, 25, 30 up the sideline. He might go, 45, 50, down to the 40, down to the 30, down to the 20, 15, 10, 87 yards for Tommy Vigorito, and there are no flags.
On defense, Bill Arnsparger, Mike Scarry, and Tom Keene coached a unit that held opponents to 10 points or less 8 times. The man in the middle was 6 foot, 5 inch, 260-pound All-Pro Bob Baumhauer. Many consider him the best nose guard in the game today. Number 73 always finds a way to get to the ball. Old pro Vern Den Herder, number 83, played well in the last of his 11 years in the league, while Doug Betters, number 75, continued to improve on the other side. Kim Bocamper, number 58, flourished in his role as the team's pass rushing specialist. Injuries depleted the secondary as cornerbacks Ed Taylor and number 28 Don McNeil missed vital playing time. One corner who stayed healthy was number 48 Gerald Small, who set a team record for breaking up passes. At the 2 safety positions, Miami had the hard-hitting Blackwood brothers. Number 42, Lyle, was at free safety, and number 47, Glenn, played at strong safety. Don Besselou and Mike Kozlowski saw lots of action, and Kozlowski, number 40, made the most of his playing time. The prime strength of Arnsparger's defense was at linebacker, where Larry Gordon, A.J. Dewey, Bob Brzezinski, and Ernie Roan reigned supreme. Roan, number 55, led the team in tackles and excelled at blitzing the quarterback. In the season's 12th week against the Jets, he racked up 3 sacks, while teammate Larry Gordon, number 50, got 1 for a safety. The Dolphin defense held New York to just 3 field goals until 16 seconds were left in the game. But with one flick of Richard Todd's arm, the Jet jinx continued. The frustrating 1-point loss to New York had put Miami in a huge hole. Every member of the 45-man squad knew what had to be done. 4 games remained. 4 games had to be won. The entire season was at stake. The NFL playoffs the prize, as Don Shula and company faced their greatest challenge. The high-flying Eagles posed the first hurdle, and a national television audience saw the Dolphins' defense at its best. While Wilbert Montgomery disappeared under an avalanche of aqua, Don Strock, in relief again, delivered the key play. On a 4th down gamble, Strock audibled at the line and burned a blitz with a touchdown to Duriel Harris. The dramatic touchdown tied the game with 5 minutes remaining and left it up to the defense to provide a pivotal turnover. It's a task this unit is well accustomed to performing. Quarterback Ron Jaworski, held to only 80 yards passing, tried to bring the Eagles back, but a diving interception by safety Lyle Blackwood, number 42, set the stage for the winning score. Uwe von Schauman's kick was true. Miami had cleared the crucial first hurdle on the Dolphins' 4-game path to the playoffs. The following Sunday, Shula's team continued its show of character. In a victory over New England, number 31, Eddie Hill, epitomized the team's determination. In Kansas City, a low-scoring game featured Don Strock's cannon arm, fine receiving, and some great resolve to reach the end zone in a hard-fought win over the Chiefs. Now it was 3 down and 1 to go. A showdown with Buffalo for the division title. The Dolphins jumped ahead early and stayed there due to a devastating defense that limited the Bills to a pair of field goals. The 16-6 victory in the Orange Bowl meant Miami had permitted only 4 touchdowns in their final 4 games. The 4 games they had to have to make the playoffs. What seemed impossible at the start of the season was now reality. The underrated Dolphins were the champions of the AFC East and now had the home field advantage for the playoffs. Over 75,000 filled the Orange Bowl, hoping this was the first step to the Super Bowl.
Let's have another one like that.
Get him free! Get him! Get him free!
But Miami's 8th playoff game in 12 seasons quickly became a nightmare. The visiting San Diego Chargers, pro football's most explosive team, scored 24 unanswered points in the first quarter. No one in playoff history has overcome such a large lead. But some fans, like their team, refuse to give up.
We ain't through. 3 touchdowns. We coming back. 3 more. 3 touchdowns.
As he had all year, Don Strock came off the bench, a heroic figure in the center of the storm.
Tell him about it, Don Strock. Get him in the end zone, Don. Let's go, boys.
Led by Strock, Miami began the long climb back from the 24-point deficit. Like a man possessed, Strock drove the Dolphins downfield, at one point completing 12 straight passes. In 4 frenzied possessions, Miami scored 4 straight times. On the last play of the first half, Don Shula dramatically pulled off the surprise of the night.
He's firing for Harris. Lateral to Tony Nathan. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Dolphins. That was a design play. You can credit that one to the Dolphin coaching staff.
I told y'all we're going to come back. We're going to come back and whoop them. Miami's number one. Never give up on Miami. Never give up on the Shula team. Never give up on the Shula team.
Great comeback. Best I've ever seen.
The rest of the game was a collage of big plays, as Don Strock and Dan Fouts each passed for more than 400 yards in the highest scoring playoff game ever. Number 84, Bruce Hardy's 50-yard touchdown was the longest by a tight end in Dolphin history. After 74 minutes, 10 touchdowns and 11 playoff records, the game came down to a field goal. The ball would be kicked 4 times before one finally went through, spoiling the most remarkable comeback in pro football history. This was a game that transcended the final score, a profile in courage, where winners are too exhausted to celebrate, the losers too tired to cry. For many teams, it might have been a moral victory. For a team with the history of the Dolphins, it could only be a bitter defeat. Yet no epitaph could be more appropriate for a team that came from nowhere and refused to die. No format is more fitting than this titanic game for a franchise that has either won or shared first place in their division 9 times in the past 12 years. 1981 continued that Dolphin tradition.